Welcome to Transforming the Toddler Years, the podcast for conscious parents, caregivers, and educators who believe tantrums aren't terrible. They are powerful opportunities for connection, growth, and learning during the first 5 years. You'll explore how to use intentional language to raise calm, confident, and deeply connected kids, because the way we talk to kids becomes how they see themselves and engage with the world. Hi, I'm your host, Cara Terrell, classroom teacher turned parent educator and teacher trainer. Are you ready to nurture your children's mind, body, and spirit? Welcome, Toddler Tribe. Let's transform the toddler years together. As a thank you for being a loyal listener to the show, I have a gift for you. Just click the link in the show notes and grab my new intentional language tool. 5 things your toddler needs to hear you say every day. Start incorporating them now into your daily exchanges and watch and listen as your child responds differently to you. Welcome back, Toddler Tribe, to our Little Linguist series. And today we're talking about receptive and expressive language development. And this is an excerpt from the beginning of chapter 4 of my book, Talk to Them Early and Often. I was wrapping up a home visit when a mom said to her 20-month-old little girl, "Say goodbye to Cara. She'll come another day." The little girl waved, but instead of approaching me for a goodbye, she walked away, grabbed their pug's collar, and held the dog so I was safe to open the door and leave without the dog following me. See how smart she is?" the mom gushed, then asked, "Is that normal?" Parents and caregivers are often amazed at what nearly 2-year-olds can do. After 20 months of absorbing receptive language, both auditorily and environmentally, this little girl heard the words, "say goodbye," and watched me move to the door. Her mother had modeled the solution for months, and now it was her turn to show she understood the problem and how to solve it. I avoid the term normal when quantifying a child's abilities or behaviors. So in response to this mom's question, I said, yes, she is demonstrating age-appropriate understanding of what she hears, what she knows will happen, and how to problem solve. This is the exciting time, isn't it? Isn't it that 18 months, 20 months, 24 months, that 1.5 to 2.5-year-old range of toddlerhood, where all of a sudden, or at least it seems like all of a sudden, they know stuff. They get stuff. And they can show you what they know and what they understand. We as adults love to see things, to believe them. We are a see it to believe it society, and we are a see it to believe it structure in our brains, biologically. But here's the thing about infancy. You can't see what's happening in their brains, but it's happening. Receptive language is poured in. We've been talking a lot about the 5 language links, right? Your energy, your body language, your facial expression, your tone, and your words. For 2 years, nearly 2 years in this little girl's example, she has been watching and listening and feeling all of those, cataloging them all away, just waiting until the day when her body was developed enough for her to move to where she wants to go, to show what she knows, waiting until her words and like her actual mouth and the way that her tongue works and the muscles in her jaw were developed enough for her to be able to tell you what she knows. But the body of knowledge, the body of relationship, and the body of work is done in those early months and years. And it is fascinating science. But if you're not someone who's going to crack the hood, if you will, and go in there and learn the science, and that's okay. You don't need to do that. You just need to know how important it is that the way you look at babies, the way you touch and hold and snuggle an infant, the words you use to soothe, the tone you choose when you do, the body position that you hold, they are all part of their language development. And it starts at birth. The waiting is hard. Now, if it's hard for them, and I promise you it is, because think about a moment where somebody asked you a question and you knew the answer. You knew it, but could you think of it in that moment? No. Do you have the speech ability to communicate it? Yes, you do. But you can't think of it. It's frustrating, right? Well, for them, it's the opposite. When we ask them all these questions and when they're tiny, when they're in that 18-month range, they know. They know the answers. They know what they want to show you. They know what they want to tell you. They know these new cool ideas that they're having, novel, creative thoughts and ideas and opinions, and they want to communicate it all with you, but they physically cannot because their body hasn't caught up yet to that ability level. I mean, imagine that frustration. We educators call it communication frustration. And it's our job to be empathetic and compassionate and curious and give them strategies and ways to tap into how to show us. Just like this little girl has figured out. Your frustration, it's much more deep-seated and it's much more subtle, is that you're pouring in for so many months and years without reaping the benefits, without seeing the evidence of the work. But that, my friends, is our job. It's our job to know that we are the reapers. We are the sowers. We are the seed planters. We are the cultivators. We are the fertilizers. We are the ones that are doing all the work to pour in knowledge and language and energy and positive outcomes and permission and all the things that these kids need between birth and 3 to then tell us, to then show us, to then feel it, to then own it, and be successful in the autonomy that comes developmentally once they turn 3 years old. It's a long growing season, my friend. Long growing season. Farming is not easy. That analogy is used a lot in parenting and in teaching, and in, the early childhood development years. And many of you might know that I'm a former farmer, that we had a commercial farm on our property in southern Vermont, and we grew vegetables and fruit and raised a small game for our CSA. And farming, it is hard, complicated, confusing work. Because you're always bumping up against a new challenge that you didn't see coming. Some years, it's the weather, the lack of rain, too much rain. Some years, it's the bugs and the pests. Some years, it's the diseases. But I can promise you every year, it's something. The exact same thing is true when you are nurturing a growing human being. Because they're constantly evolving. And because every day they are literally different human beings with more brain cells and more physical ability and more knowledge and more autonomy and more desires, they are constantly throwing new things at you. And it's this symbiotic relationship, this fluid back and forth. It's why we call it serve and return in the teaching world, where you kind of receive that information from them and then you change your strategy that day, or you shift your language that day, or you shift your energy that day and you meet them where they are. And then the next day they show up and they can open a door for you and calmly stand there while you leave, and you celebrate that huge developmental leap. And then all of a sudden we're on to the next thing. So receptive and expressive language is a very fun concept to think about. However, it's often taught from the child's perspective, full stop, right? They receive all of this stuff. They develop the architecture of their brain. They have this big, huge dictionary that's developing this lexicon of knowledge and language. They witness environmentally how people move through their world and how doors are opened and things like that. And then when they are ready and capable, they express through lots of different language avenues what they know. Yes. And it's just not that simple. Because relationship does not exist with one person. Relationship is at least two people. There are relationships in your home, in your school. So let's just take it from the one-on-one relationship, okay? Pick one of your kiddos if you are a parent listening. Pick one of your students if you are a teacher listening. And notice that it's a duplicitous experience. When they receive language, it's because you expressed it. And when you receive language, it's because they expressed it. When they receive energy, it's because you expressed it, and vice versa. So the reception and the expression happens at the same time for both parties. This is important because from your personal perspective, the individual perspective of you are then assessing that. Whatever you received, you're now assessing it. You're adding meaning to it. You're sifting it through your perception. And so are they. And if you don't share a similar perception, the meaning gets convoluted, confused, and that is where miscommunication and power struggles emerge from. I know. Pretty deep, huh? This is the science, and this is the psychology of human connection and making meaning match. So, what do I want you to take away from this today? Be intentional about what you're serving up. Be intentional about the way you express to infants and toddlers. Check your body language. Check your energy. Choose your words. Choose your tone. Then give them opportunities. Create tiny little opportunities for them to show you that they get it. Because that is where the celebration happens. When I walked out that door, not only was I thrilled that I could support this mom, by helping her feel confident that this child was on par with what they were meant to be doing for their age. But I got to celebrate with the little girl too. And that happens by getting down on her level, looking her straight in the eyes, putting a big smile on my face, opening up my hands with my body position, choosing an awe-inspired tone and saying, "Wow, you knew that your dog would run out the door if you didn't hold him. Thank you for keeping your dog safe while I go to my car." That's the win. The recognizing of what they know and the celebrating through words of them understanding how big that accomplishment is as well. If you are looking for a resource that can give you kind of that quick hack, that quick tip on words that you can use so that kids feel seen, heard, and loved in moments like this, then be sure to download my freebie today. The link is in the show notes for this episode. And it's just 5 simple phrases that you can say to your kids and embed into sentences every single day that will bring opportunities for moments just like this. Okay, Toddler Tribe, you know what to do. Stay mindful and proactive as we transform the toddler years.